Hello again, my little yarnivores and spiderettes. Fiber Spider back again with another tutorial just for you. And today we are going to be doing a super simple, lovely textured stitch. This is the even moss stitch. Very, very easy, just a one row repeat. It is also reversible, looks the same on both sides. I think that this would be ideal for a scarf, a blanket, a wrap, really, whatever. And because it is so simple, just a one row repeat, it is one of those sort of meditative, mindless Zen zone kind of things that you can just sort of dive into and lose yourself, which is always a bonus as far as I'm concerned. So for this particular piece, I used Red Heart Super Saver stripes in, I believe this is the colorway of Polo, I think. I could be mistaken. It's a weight of 4 yarn. And I used, this is a 6mm size J crochet hook. You can, of course, use whatever works best for you, based on your gauge and your tension and so forth. Today, I'm going to be using a little bit more worsted weight yarn. This is, I think it's I Love This Yarn, if I'm not mistaken. It's a weight of 4 yarn. And yeah, so without further ado, let's get started, shall we? Alrighty. Okie dokie. So for this particular stitch, very, very simple, as I stated before, all you need is an odd number of initial chains for your base chain. First, of course, you do your slip stitch as per usual, and then just an arbitrary odd number of chains. So I don't know, I think I might do like maybe 13 or 15, something like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. Sounds about good for a nice little swatch. Of course, you can make this as wide or as narrow as you want to, depending upon the project. Just make sure that it is an odd number of stitches, because we're going to be doing an even number of stitches across, and we have to have that additional odd number so that we can sort of chain up, so to speak. So get your odd number of stitches all set to go, and we will get started. Okay, usually I have my little row clicker thingy, but since this is literally a one row repeat, I really don't think it's necessary. We're going to start by going into the second chain from the hook. That's why we needed an odd number of chains. Second chain from the hook, going in with a slip stitch. Now, what I strongly suggest is try to go a little bit loose on your slip stitches, because we're going to be working into them on the following row. So going in, pulling up a loop, perhaps up a little bit further than you normally would, and then pass it through that first loop, because we're going to have to go into that stitch later. That being said, next stitch, a half double crochet. So yarn over, going into the chain, pulling up a loop, and then pull through all 3 loops. And we're going to be alternating back and forth between slip stitches and half double crochets for the entire row. So next stitch, pull up a loop, and then pull through, yarn over, pull up a loop, pull through all 3. Pull up a loop and through, yarn over, pull up a loop, pull through all 3. Pull up a loop and through, yarn over, pull up a loop, pull through all 3, pull up a loop and pull through, yarn over, pull up a loop, and pull through all 3. Pull up a loop and pull through, yarn over, pull up a loop, pull through all 3, and we've got 2 left. Pull up a loop, pull through, yarn over, pull up a loop, and pull through all 3. Now, because we're only working with 2 stitches, it's, like I said, it's important that we have ultimately an even number of stitches that we're working with. And that odd number, like I said, that gives us the height that we need in order to create that sort of staggered binary of stitches. That being said, let's do the repeat row. All right. Okay, so for the repeat row, we're essentially going to be doing the same thing, except we're not going to be working into the chains. So start off by chaining up 1 and turning the work. And we're going to be alternating just like we did previously by doing a slip stitch and a half double crochet. And again, going to be going into that first stitch right there, but you want to go loosely. So inserting your hook, pulling up a loop, give it a little bit of breathing room, and pull through. Yarn over, next stitch, pulling up a loop, pull through all 3, next stitch, pull up a loop, pull through, yarn over, pull up a loop, pull through all 3, next stitch, pull up a loop and pull through, yarn over, pull up a loop, pull through all 3, pull up a loop, pull through, yarn over, pull up a loop, pull through all 3, pull up a loop and pull through, yarn over, pull up a loop and pull through all 3, pull up a loop, pull through, yarning over, pulling up a loop, pull through all 3, and we have 2 stitches. Now this is very important. I can't tell you the number of times that I have heard this, and when I first started crocheting, I'm guilty of it myself, forgetting that this little guy is a stitch, and then before you know it, your piece starts to decrease up to a point. And so the next stitch, which obviously is a stitch right there, that is going to be a slip stitch because we just did a half double. So pulling up a loop and pulling through. And the thing is, we don't end on a slip stitch. We always end on a half double. So yarn over, and then going into this last stitch, because it's the first one, it's always a little bit fiddly because it's right at the edge here. But if you turn your work a little bit, it's a little bit easier to see where we need to get into. We're going underneath both of those loops right there. And pulling up a loop, and then pull through all 3. And there you go. And we're going to end up with a relatively nice and even straight edge. That's not decreasing over time. All right, let's do another row together. Chaining up 1, turning the work, and as you can see, we already have this really cool bumpy appearance going on. I think it looks lovely. And so after we did our chaining up of 1, going into that first stitch with a slip stitch, pulling up a loop, giving it a little bit of wiggle room, and then pulling through, yarn over, pulling up a loop, pull through all 3, pulling up a loop and through, yarning over, pulling up a loop, pull through all 3. Now also, something to be aware of is that the V of our stitching, it's not through here and here. It looks kind of like a V. Yes, it does. However, that is not the V. If you go through those, then you're going to be not getting that really cool bump appearance. You want to tilt your work like this. It's these V's running along the top here that we're going to be going into. So pulling up a loop and through, yarn over, pulling up a loop, pull through all 3, pulling up a loop and through, yarn over, pulling up a loop through all 3, pulling up a loop and through, yarn over, pulling up a loop through all 3, pulling up a loop and through, yarning over, pulling up a loop through all 3. And then we've got 2 more. You know, it's a little bit crowded at the edge, but we can do this. So we just did our half double, going to this next stitch, pulling up a loop and through, yarn over, going into this last stitch, which is a little bit easier to see because we have some stitches established at this point. Pulling up the loop and then pull through all 3. And of course, I have a little bit of a tangle. Happens all the time. Okay, and because I like to be thorough, let's do 1 more row together because I like being thorough and I like spending time with you guys. So let's do 1 more. Chain up 1 and turn the work, and let's get to it. Okay, first stitch, pulling up a loop, give it some breathing room, and pull through. Yarn over, pulling up a loop, pull through all 3. Pull up a loop and through, yarn over, pulling up a loop, pull through all 3. Pull up a loop and through, yarn over, pulling up a loop, pull through all 3. Pull up a loop and through, yarn over, pulling up a loop, pull through all 3, pull up a loop and through, yarning over, pulling up a loop, pull through all 3, pull up a loop and through, yarning over, pulling up a loop, pull through all 3, and then we've got 2 more stitches, so pulling up a loop and through, yarning over, pulling up a loop, pull through all 3, and there you go. It's that simple. You know, you really get lost in the rhythm, the meditative Zen zone, as I like to call it, and you end up with this gorgeous squoogey texture. And as I said, yeah, it is the same on both sides. So as far as a scarf goes, you don't have to worry about a right side and a wrong side, you know, which is rather nice. Also, if you work this in a cotton yarn, I think that this would make a great dishcloth or a washcloth for that matter. Yeah, and there you go. Also, because you are working with a fairly dense material, that's why I used a size J crochet hook. You know, usually with a weight of 4 yarn, I tend to lean towards using a 5.5 millimeter hook, a size I. However, if you want to have some nice flow and drape to your fabric, definitely go up a size or 2 than you normally would for that weight of yarn if you want to have a bit more wibbly wobbly timey-wimey drape to it. And there you go. Alrighty, my dears, so there you have it, the even moss stitch. Really hope that you liked today's video, and if you did, please give a little thumbs up button down below. You know that I appreciate your appreciation as always. Now, I know that this video and a couple of my previous videos have been really, really simple, just 1 or 2 row repeats and so forth. Life has its way of throwing curveballs at us, and sometimes it's really nice to just sort of get into the stitching zone and, tune into what it is that you're doing and just, go with it, have a nice little mindful moment. So sometimes it's nice to pick, a really simplistic pattern where you can just dive right in. Yeah. And not to worry, in the near future, I plan on doing some very elaborate stuff relatively soon. So stay tuned for more, because whether it's crocheting or knitting or audiobook narrations or games or cooking or really whatever, I like variety. It is the spice of life. So stay tuned for more. Hit that subscribe button. And until next time, you know what to do, right? I want all of you to stay inspired, stay caffeinated, stay stitching, and please stay safe. Take care of yourselves and each other, and I will see you in my next video. And in the comments section, I want to hear from you. What are you going to do with this stitch? What kinds of yarns? What sort of colors? I'm always interested to hear about your creative journeys. Yeah, so let me know. And I will see you in my next video. Have a great day, everybody, and bye for now.